few minutes for we're going to give it a few minutes for folks to enter the room, and then we'll begin shortly.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to thank everyone for coming today to our information session about the Jumpstart Pathways, early college and career programs. Today we have a great group of people here to help us talk about the community health worker program, as well as the personal fitness trainer program and our CPS partners as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask away. So we're going to be focusing on the two programs here at Malcolm X College. It's one of the sister schools of all the other city colleges here in Chicago. Malcolm X is located on the west side of Chicago, and we have great programs here, and we're really excited to be able to talk to you about them today. So just a quick, a little bit about me. My name is Najia Omer. I go by Gia. I'm the Assistant Dean of the Early College Programs here at Malcolm X. So I work with the CPS schools, but also the programs here at the campus to make sure that our early college students who are in dual enrollment and dual credit classes are being given all the right information, but also are given the experience that they hopefully enjoy and bring them back to campus after they graduate. So my information is here if you guys want to write it down. I can also drop it in the chat if you want to just grab that at the end of the presentation. So we'll go ahead and begin. I'm going to introduce Melina Angeles. She is our early college program coordinator, and she's going to be talking to you a little bit about the early college program.
Thank you so much, Gia. My name is Lena Angeles. I work with CPS Early College, and I've been working on the Jumpstart program now for the last 4 years. An easy way to kind of remember to get, if you want to connect with me about Jumpstart Early College at cps.edu. That's kind of the easiest way to get a hold of me. So I want to just kind of set up some context. You know, this afternoon we're here together to really dig into the opportunities specifically at Malcolm X with community health worker and personal fitness trainer. But before we do that, I wanted to just frame us a little bit about the Jumpstart program in general. So Jumpstart Pathways is a new program in the city. We've been rolling it out over the last few years, and it continues to expand and evolve. So there's really 3 parts to getting to know the program. One is just kind of the introductory basic information. We're going to go through a lot of that Jumpstart 101 content today before we talk about those pathways. And then Today, together with Malcolm X, we're really going to explore the opportunity with each pathway. And so that's really like the second phase of learning about Jumpstart. That's what we call Jumpstart 102, where you really dig into the details and you see, can this really align with my future goals? Does this program have the same outcome that I'm hoping for as I continue my post-secondary planning? And then finally, Jumpstart 103, we're not going to get into today, but I am going to make sure you have access to this deck. It is a public deck so that you can access the links, because Jumpstart 103 is really for the folks who have learned about the program, looked into the pathways, and have decided that this is for them. So Jumpstart 103 helps guide students through the registration process. Okay. All right, so what is Jumpstart Pathways? This is how we're defining it this year. It's an early college and career program for Chicago students, both juniors and seniors. So in the past, Jumpstart has existed primarily for senior students, but this year we've opened up additional opportunities and course plans to make it possible for both juniors and seniors to make progress towards earning these basic certificates and, you know, getting the skills and knowledge they need to succeed in the plan that they have for their future. What I love about Jumpstart is that we have a really diverse menu of opportunities that again teach skills, knowledge, and accumulate college credit and certification. So we really feel like for every Learn, Plan, Succeed post-secondary pathway, so whether students want to pursue college, go into employment, attend the military, or do an apprenticeship, gap year, or job training program, there are different pathways that can support all of those future plans. So one of the most exciting updates of how the program has evolved is to have both 1-year and 2-year course plans. So with Malcolm X specifically, our community health worker program is on a 1-year course plan only. So that is where students complete the entire 5-course pathway within the span of 3 semesters starting this summer. This year though, we've opened up new opportunities for 2-year course plans. This is a slower pace opportunity where students can take just 1 class at a time every semester to make it towards their goal to complete the pathway. So for this year, we're offering personal fitness trainer on both a 1-year and 2-year course plan, which is really exciting. So there will be some students who will be aggressively pursuing the pathway, and then other students who are taking it, you know, 1 course at a time. Some of the program support that we offer with Jumpstart is free tuition, free CTA transportation, and free textbooks. These benefits of the program are available to juniors and seniors in the city, regardless of legal status. So if you have any students or any friends, if there's students online right now who you know, have citizenship barriers, when it comes to Jumpstart and using our early college tuition waivers, we don't really have a conflict you know, with that. So I wanted to just make sure I mentioned that. A couple of other ways we support our students. This is one of the elements of Jumpstart that I think is the secret sauce, is that CPS does have a Jumpstart support team that works directly with the students. So they have a series of individual engagement where they're doing one-on-ones every 2 weeks, but they also do interact with our cohorts of students from across the city who are studying the same content. So these folks help support our students through the registration process, all the way through the completion of the program. And we'll talk a little bit more about exactly what they do. And then another awesome support resource is everything that the City College offers to their students. So there are a lot of campus-based support services, and now because of the pandemic, emerging virtual resources as well. So students have access to advising, tutoring, IT services, student life, campus involvement, you know, anything that the college would offer their students, including health and wellness, and then access to the actual facilities. So when our Jumpstart students join the program, they are City College students, they can get their ID and then access any of the 7 campuses. So if they need to attend the library or the gymnasium or the tech centers, whatever is available at the college is also available to our students. So a quick note about the Jumpstart support team. Our student liaisons, primarily focus on attendance, behavior, and grades, but they're connecting directly with the students regularly. And then they're also connecting back at the high school with the counselors, with the family if needed, and then again with the college to make sure that our students feel well supported or not falling through gaps. Sometimes it's navigating students to a particular resource, or sometimes it's helping them build time management regimens and things like that, some of the softer skills that are needed to be successful in college and career. Okay, so I'm going to hand it back over to Gia so she can kind of introduce, actually, sorry, Gia, I forgot about our pivot plan. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get into the content with community health worker. Just to remind folks, both of these pathways are compatible with Learn, Plan, Succeed post-secondary pathways. So for community health worker, there are different exit ramps. So if students want to go straight into employment, there are opportunities available. But if students want to stack this credential into a 2-year degree, we're going to take a look at some of the opportunities there. And then as well as a 4-year degree and perhaps public health and other things like that. So we'll take a look at some of that. And then after we talk about community health worker, we'll move into the personal fitness trainer. All right, so right now we're looking at the actual coursework involved in the community health worker program. And then just so we're clear here, the community health worker program is designed to focus on competencies universally required for primary and preventative health care. So for students who want to enter into various allied health professions, the curriculum can really support that entry into other allied health professions. So some of the 5 courses that students will complete while in the program is public health, study of disease and epidemic, intro to community health. So in this course, they're really learning how to interact with patients and in a community health setting. And then they move on to nutrition, exercise, and disease, which is important because a lot of times community health issues require patient education around nutrition, exercise, and disease. And then students, their final traditional course would be mental health issues. So that's a course dedicated to talking about mental health issues and being more familiar with how those issues can kind of transpire in a community health setting. And then the last class in this course sequence is a field experience. So Malcolm X and CPS have partnered together to host CHW interns with the Office of Health and Wellness. So over the years, we've had interns do a variety of projects from social emotional learning to LGBTQ education and other facets of work that the Office of Health and Wellness takes on. In addition to the partnership with CPS and the Office of Health and Wellness, Malcolm X has a slew of community partners that offer internship experiences to CHW students. So as a part of their coursework in the spring, their final semester of the program, they're assigned to complete, somewhere between 60 and 80 hours of field experience with their organization. And throughout the experience, they get to practice the skills that they've learned and really build off of the course knowledge that they've learned into the practical setting of actually offering community health services for an organization or a project. This pathway does culminate with a basic certificate. So when students complete these 5 classes, they will earn a basic certificate in community health worker. And in order to be eligible for this pathway, students do need to place with English 96 placement. So that's the equivalent of high school level English. And when students complete English placement testing, they'll be looking for a score of at least 3 to move forward with the coursework. Okay, so in terms of continuing education at the City Colleges of Chicago, CHW pathway completers can choose to study public health, or sometimes some CHW students might choose to go into social work studies or like those allied health professions. And so there's lots of different avenues in which a student can kind of leverage this opportunity towards a 2-year degree. But it really is personal to the student and how they see themselves working in their community and then continuing their education in the future. In terms of continuing the education at a 4-year university, I think many students choose to go into public health, social work, or some kind of health field. So just anecdotally from some of the students we've had in the past, some of them have already decided on things like public health, where others are considering, nursing or other patient care opportunities. And so, our goal with CHW is to provide the knowledge and experience they need to kind of help narrow down that vision for the future. The CHW program at Malcolm X has partnered with several local universities. So there is a guaranteed admissions with NEIU, and their students can study health and wellness and health education with a focus on community health. And then National Lewis also offers a healthcare leadership program that can be a good fit for continuing education. And then finally, SIUC at Carbondale offers a capstone program related to this as well. All right, so the last thing I'll mention about the community, the last few things I'll mention about the community health worker pathway here at Malcolm X is it is a 1-year program. This is not currently available on a 2-year basis. So for students who want to pursue this opportunity, they would complete the 5 courses over the course of the next 3 semesters, starting summer 2022 and culminating spring 23. During the academic year, students will be expected to take 2 college courses at a time. We do modify their high school schedule in order to accommodate that appropriately. But what that ends up being is students are in class anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week, depending on the format of the class. And the classes meet in the late afternoons and utilize both in-person and online learning modes. For those who are thinking about entry-level career opportunities, I think with CHW, it's a wide open field in Chicago in terms of hiring community health workers for a lot of different agencies and nonprofit organizations. But there are specific partnerships with University of Illinois at Chicago, UIUC, and DePaul University. So all 3 of those universities do look to hire community health workers. And then, that kind of role is available at a large variety of organizations focused on many different things within community health. So throughout the program, students kind of narrow down what they would like to focus on in terms of their field placement and things like that. And so I think what I like most about the CHW program is that there is that kind of component where you can customize it to how you really see yourself fitting into making a difference in the world of community health here in Chicago. With that said, I'm going to introduce Lamar Magnus with the personal fitness trainer pathway. He is going to, talk about that opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Melina. I really do appreciate this opportunity to kind of talk about the program. Well, just a quick introduction. My name is Professor Lamar Magnus. I'm the program director of personal fitness training, exercise science, and sports studies. And I'm also the head lecturer as well. So this opportunity is great because our personal fitness training is connected and is kind of married to our physical therapy assistant program. So there's the 1-year certification program really pre-qualifies you for physical therapy assistant, in addition to preparing you for the work field in fitness. So I can kind of just go off of the slide that students prepare foundation in body mechanics, human anatomy. They're able to develop exercise testing protocols and program design. And this all populations as well. So we're hitting youth. If if students are interested in going to like park districts, working with youth, working with older individuals, and of course, everyone in between. 5 main courses that they have to take: English composition, 1, general psychology, and the psychology portion is big in personal training now, and understanding motivation, what motivates people. You're starting to see more personal trainers get into that mental well-being aspects, in addition to the whole, weight loss. And so we're through a general psychology course has to be taken. Of course, a functional anatomy and kinesiology course. That's kind of the nuts and the bolts. If you don't know how the body.
Maybe give it a second.
Yeah, it looks like it's just Lamar who might be frozen.
Yeah.
Let's give him a moment to sign back in.
While he's signing back in, do those credits transfer?
So for personal fitness trainer specifically?
Well, he talked about you would also have the kids would also would also have to take English, English comp and psychology.
Yeah,
So
so
those are something that everybody takes no matter what college you go to. So do
Yeah.
those credits transfer?
Yes.
absolutely. So those are IAI approved. They're part of the Illinois Articulation Agreement. And so for English 101 and Psych 201, those are generally transferable classes that can be applied, largely for gen ed credits at any of the schools in the Articulation Agreement with the state. But also outside of state, a lot of those gen ed classes are also transferable. It looks like we got Lamar back.
I'm so sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. Technology.
I want to go into the 101 and
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it looks like he's having some internet trouble. So the only thing I'll mention kind of in this gap time is those 2 top classes are widely transferable. And then how those other 3 classes would transfer is really up to the institution. So I always recommend that students check out transferology.com. There they can put in the institution that they plan on transferring, and then they can take a look at how the courses would line up at that other institution. Okay, Lamar's back on again.
all right, this should be it now. I changed my Wi-Fi.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I wanted to talk into a little bit more about the 101 and the 102 course, because those are kind of nuts and bolts of the certification. The 101 course is the more theory-based, coming directly from the book. So it's a lot of memorization. It's a lot of, understanding, reps and sets and exercise, movement, and a little bit of nutrition as well. So that course is the typical lecture, the typical quizzes, the typical, foundation of, exercise science. And then the 102 course, which is the more hands-on practicum course, is where we're meeting in the sports lab and we're actually going through hands-on assessments, hands-on personal training, and hands-on program design. So that 102 practicum course has an 80-hour internship embedded within it. And I think that is the most vital, or the most important part of the course, is that these students are able to work with some of our workforce partners and learn from trainers that have been in the business already. So that's a little bit about the coursework. The pathway, just like I mentioned earlier, the pathway prepares students for the physical therapy assistant program. So what it does is it gets students to prepare to work with individuals who have physical impairment, be able to perform essential exercises and activities for these individuals, outpatient conditions. So more hospital setting, more of the rehab, clinical rehab setting for these physical therapy assistants. And the good thing is that the job outlook for PTAs are on the rise, right? I think the average starting salary is around 40 grand, and that's entry level. Yeah, so this is a 2-year program. So once they're done with the PFT program, they can enter into the PTA program, which is a total of 1 year as well. So the first half is school, classroom work, and then the second half of the PTA is all clinical. Opportunities for this pathway at the 4-year university level is University of Illinois at Chicago. You can get a BS in kinesiology. Western Illinois University also offers a personal fitness bachelor's degree. So individuals that want to learn more about maybe corporate fitness, maybe management, maybe going into strength and conditioning for professional sports, I would advise going to get an actual bachelor's degree. So yeah, so leveraging the pathway here, you can either do it 1 year, in which the course plan is 3 semesters, or you can do it within 2 year, which is a 5-semester course plan. There's also options, and we're really working with the business office to hire our students in our sports lab. So we do have a position, a sports lab attendant position, that's kind of work study based, in which they can work in the sports lab, giving tours, being able to help our students, set up personal training sessions and things of that nature. So all of our students have the opportunity to do these offsite internships with our workforce partners. The only thing is that I really want to ensure that the students have personal training as a career choice as well as PTA, because I would hate to put students that aren't, they really don't like the gym and they really don't like, dumbbells and stuff like that, and put them in a place where, people are yelling and protein powder everywhere. So there's options. There's definitely options. And just from a career standpoint, we know fitness trainers, it can be group exercise, it can be personal training, it can be, you can do not only group exercise like Zumba, but you can do group personal training work. You can work with the youth, you can do aerobic instructors. And once again, this is on the verge in regards to hiring for personal training. The job outlook is on the rise.
Thank you so much, Lamar, for providing that information around the personal fitness trainer program. This is a pathway I always get really excited about. And so I feel like this is going to be a good year for us to continue to grow this opportunity. Let's go ahead and kind of wrap things up about the program. So just to remind folks, we are looking for rising juniors and rising seniors. It can be public, charter, or option school students in Chicago. First and foremost, I think the most critical factor that we're looking for is the interest and passion in one of these career pathways. Over the years, I've had students come into the Jumpstart space and there's certain things that attract them, being able to earn college credit, being able to have a modified high school schedule. But where we really seek success is when students are driven and have that interest in the pathway, because the experience is a rigorous one. Students are taking college coursework. And so to be able to have that interest and passion as their guiding force is critical, in my opinion. The other thing we're looking for is folks who are committed to their growth. So we don't expect our students to come in the door knowing everything or having all the skills, but we do really appreciate when students come in ready to grow and ready to learn so that we can continue to enhance their personal and professional development and skills. We're looking for students who are going to show up and be consistent in their attendance. And then we're looking for students who have an achievement record that indicates they know how to meet course objectives. So the other things required in the program is just a desire to prioritize this opportunity. We do realize, especially with the one-year opportunity, it's happening during your senior year, and senior year can be a challenging time for students. And so, definitely prioritizing your college coursework and making sure you stay in good communication is essential to the program. And then lastly, having some support from your counselor or post-secondary advisor in your school community, because we just really strongly feel like with Jumpstart, when there's a village supporting the student, we get better outcomes. One thing I just want to mention is we are looking to identify all students by the end of April. So we're asking students to complete the registration process prior to April 22nd. We feel confident that if we're aware of your interest and intention to join Jumpstart by April 22nd, then we can do what we need to do on our end to make that opportunity possible. When we get later and closer to the summer, it becomes a question of like feasibility, availability, seats, and things like that. So, it's March 1st today. Students have the next couple of months to complete the process. We do have a guide, so I will drop this link in the chat. But this registration guide takes the student to complete the Jumpstart Google form so that we have their contact information, but it also guides them through the admissions process with the city colleges and all the paperwork that's needed. We do have some additional community engagement events coming up. So on March 16th after school, I'll be hosting, question and answer sessions. And then there are other launches coming up in the next couple of weeks for those school communities who are interested in connecting with other Jumpstart content. So there's a link to our calendar. Yep, I just mentioned March 16th. I'm also doing March 26th as a question and answer session. So those are just times that families, counselors, students can sign in and ask all the questions. I really am a firm believer in asking the most amount of questions to figure out if this is the right opportunity for you. The Jumpstart program is a great opportunity, and every year we've worked really hard to make it more accessible for students and to create more opportunities for students to get involved. But right now we're operating at 7 campuses with 16 pathways. There may not be a best fit pathway for every student. And so really, digging into the details, asking the questions is what really helps you determine if this can align well. So at this time, if anybody has any questions about the Jumpstart Pathways program in general, or any specific questions about the community health worker pathway we discussed, or the personal fitness trainer pathway we discussed, or anything early college related at Malcolm X, everybody's on the call now, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Hey, how are you? This is Marco Misituto. How are you? How's it going? How's it going? It's been a long time, man. I have a question. I saw that you have those days to have parents ask questions and what have you. Would you be considering, or because I see that they're all going to be through Google Meets, are you considering in the near future having coming to the buildings to have one-on-ones? I really want to revamp, at least from our end, how we work dual credit, dual enrollment, and Jumpstart. I really want to make sure that we really are getting the best candidates. And I think, so I really want to know if that's to start that, especially if we're going to have a little bit more in person.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now I am launching Malcolm X from Bogan High School. I was here all afternoon meeting with their students around opportunities. Last week I was out at a high school too. So my calendar is officially open for community engagements. I'll be touring the city. So I would love to come to your high school. I can engage with your PLT to talk about strategy, or we can engage directly with your students and families, whatever you think is the best way to support your school. We definitely want to, create that opportunity to do that.
No, okay, thank you. I really wanted to. Thank you so very much. I'll definitely reach out. Thank you.
Yeah, send me some dates and times and we'll put it on the books.
Thank you, thank you.
Veronica, I saw that you joined us. Veronica is the director of the Community Health Worker Program. So earlier you all kind of heard me talk about it. But Veronica, if you have anything you want to say, you can. But if not, Veronica's information is available on the information for community health workers. So if any counselors or students out there have any specific questions about the program, she would be a great resource.
Yeah, just wanted to mention that this, you probably already mentioned this, Melina, that this pathway has really drawn in a lot of students who are interested in the healthcare field, and whether they decide to go into community health work or they decide to go into other health or social service fields, this skill set that they'll learn and the experience they'll gain will really benefit them. I always tell students this really takes you from being qualified and trained practitioner to being an amazing practitioner who's really patient-centered. So I think that it provides them a really good skill set for that. So any students who are interested in health and social services, this would be a really great pathway for them.
Thank you so much, Veronica. Are there any other questions that we can answer while we're here live? If not, we are looking forward to connecting with the community, over the next couple months around these opportunities. All right. So the last thing I'll mention here is we do have a resource slide. So this is, we don't have a website right now, but this is kind of like everything that there is to learn about Jumpstart, all of the tools and resources here. So I'm going to drop the link to this deck in the chat, and then it'll continue to be available for anybody else. We did record tonight's session, so this recording will also be available for schools to use as a resource to learn more about the opportunities at Malcolm X. All right, well, I just want to thank Gia and the team at Malcolm X for taking the time to present with us this afternoon, and just looking forward to working in the community and finding students who are interested in these opportunities. And yeah, we'll follow up. We'll follow up with schools and things like that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Melina. You've been really helpful in getting this to our schools, so we're really appreciative.
Okay, thank you. You could end the recording.